The faculty who are joining this program under the PARAKH program of AICTE CIDC, I would like to welcome you all this afternoon. My name is Somnath Ghosh, and I would like to take you through this workshop on the need for ISO quality certification for technical engineering institutions. This is going to be an interactive session. Please feel free to stop and start anytime. I'm sorry for this delay because we were trying to start the presentation as well as the audience participation at the same time. CIDC did not give me enough time to set this up. So this took me a little longer than usual because I'm an old man, 70-year-old. I'm not that tech savvy. Please pardon me for this 5 minutes delay. However, I would like this session to be interactive. As I said, please feel free to stop and ask questions. As we go along, I will have a few quizzes for you. You can accept the quizzes from any of the 3 options displayed here, option 1, option 2, and option 3. The quiz would be through a tool called menti.com. You see that here, and the code for that is 16993939. Alternatively, you can use option 2 if you are using from your laptop or mobile browser and click on the link displayed here. And the third option is to scan the QR code. Don't to worry, all these details are also be available for you in the chat box. You can go to the chat box and the link would be there for you to click and answer the question as you are asked. In the quiz, we will be displaying the results of the quiz after the end of this program. So it's important for us to know who is responding. So we could give you an award on behalf of CIDC. So you have to write your name. Invariably, people don't write their name when answering the quiz. In that case, the system picks up a random name and we do not know who has responded. So no awards. With no ado, I would like to go ahead. Now, what is quality? What do you understand by quality? Anybody would like to give me an answer? You can unmute and express yourself. Quality is very perceptual. It's not a finite definition. For instance, if you take a car, and the automobiles first started with Ford Motor, Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Corporation, said, you can take any car as long as it is black. The only option given was a black Ford automobile. 100 years down the line, automobiles have evolved and you have very fancy vehicles around on the road. But today, we are looking for environmentally compliant vehicles, green tech using battery operated. There is a desire to go away from fuel-based, petrol and diesel-based cars. So the quality perception of an automobile has been changing over the years. And it has changed dramatically in the last 100 years. That is true for any product that you can take, whether it's a manufactured product or it's a natural product. So as I said, the meaning of quality has evolved and developed over a period of time. However, whatever is the perception of good quality at any specific point of time, for instance, today, and if there is an organization that is meeting the perception of good quality product, they are in business because their products would be in demand. In today's global marketplace, quality is a key competency which organizations can use to derive a competitive advantage. For you as teachers, Quality of your products could be measured in many different ways. One, as the quality of the students coming out of your institutions. Two, the quality of papers being published, the quality of teaching being rendered, the quality of research being undertaken. So there are very many metrics, and it's not just any one solution that's going to fit all. For each institution, for each organization, for each college or university, you need to define your quality parameters, and you need to conform to those. Now, quality is, you can't put a finger on the quality. It's difficult to define. However, if a product or a service is of poor quality, it stands out like a sore thumb. People immediately realize what that product is if it is not of good enough quality. Okay. So cost of poor quality is not just those of immediate waste or rework and rectification. It is also the loss of brand value and subsequently the organization's performance and the organization's ability to earn. What does ISO stand for? ISO is a name for the International Organization for Standardization. However, if we take the acronym for International Organization for Standardization is IOS, but we use the word isos from the Greek word meaning equal. So ISO is pronounced as ISO. ISO from isos meaning equal. You have to keep that in mind. It's not just an acronym. It's a word that means equal in the Greek language. ISO, International Organization for Standardization, was founded in 1947 in Geneva, 46-47 period. It sets the national standard institutes of over 170 countries are its members. And from India, the National Standards Institute called Bureau of Indian Standards is a member. In fact, BIS has been a founder member of Indian Organization for Standardization. The decisions are made through technical committees, subcommittees, and working groups. And over this period of almost 75 years, they have developed over 19,500 standards. And the technical committee, which is looking into the development of the ISO 9001:2015 standard, which we are going to talk about, has a title called TC-176. Technical Committee-176. Okay, we have a quiz for you. What does ISO stand for? We've just explained. Does it mean International Standardization Organization? Does it mean Indian Standard Organization? Or does it mean International Organization for Standardization? You can use any of the three methods to access this quiz and respond to it. I will give you 60 seconds to respond. Take your time. But in the future quizzes, I'll give you less time. You also have the link available with you in your chat box. You can go to your chat box, click on the link, come to this question, write your name, and give the correct answer. Thank you. Okay, we are through with our 60 seconds, so we're moving on. What does ISO do? ISO, the international body in Geneva, develops these standards. That's all. They don't do accreditation, they don't do certification. They only develop the standards through the technical committees. ISO 9001 is a quality management standard that gives requirements for building and maintaining an effective quality management system. This is what we're going to talk about today. The ISO registration shows to your customers and your potential customers that you have a good quality management system in place in your organization. That means the way you perform is repeatable. The same processes are followed by each and every person in your organization, in an institute, and that you are dependable. You can be held responsible for the deliverables, quality deliverables. This is typically how a management system certificate looks like. We have the name of the, here I've given the, for the sake of comparison, for this, I'm showing you the quality management system certificate of a consulting firm called Intercontinental Consultants. And the certifying body, CB, is DNV. You have the name at the top. The accreditation body is at the bottom, RVA, and RVA is a member of IAF, International Accreditation Forum. You have the logos at the bottom, middle of the bottom, you can see. And you have the certification stands for ISO 9001:2015, which is written in the middle. And for the services is providing engineering, financial, and project management consultancy services for infrastructure projects. That's how a certificate looks like. And if you would like to check the validity of the certificate, you can scan the QR code, which is on the bottom left side, which will take you to the website of DNV, where you can check the validity of the certificate. How was ISO developed? Here we are talking about the ISO 9000 series of standards, which were developed by the ISO committee TC176. All the members of the committee are industry professionals from member countries. We saw those 170 member countries. A selection of those would be a member of this TC176. And they set up working groups to draft the standard. The draft standards are circulated, reviewed, and accepted through a process of consensus. If anybody has an objection, he has to state that objection, and that is discussed. And when there is complete consensus and everybody agrees, and there is 100% voting for acceptance, that is accepted and adopted. Once adopted, it is printed and made available to the IAF, International Accreditation Forum, who in turn makes it available to the CBs, the certifying bodies, who in turn can certify their clients, like educational organizations like you are the clients of the certifying bodies, the CBs. This TC176 was founded in 1979. Initially, there were 20 member countries, and they were called P members because they were active participants. And there were 14 observer members called O members. Today, in TC176, there are more than 50 members and 20 observers. This committee set to work in 79 and came up with the first approved, accepted draft in 1986. And finally, it was released for publication in 1987. So the first version of ISO 9000 series for management systems was released in 1987. What is a quality management system? A quality management system is defined as a formalized system that documents processes, procedures, and responsibilities for achieving quality policies and objectives. A quality management system helps coordinate and direct an organization's activities to meet customer and regulatory requirements and improve its effectiveness and efficiency on a continuous basis. Now, I'm not going through the clauses of the QMS 9001 because that would require a very extensive training program, at least stretching into 2 days, 2 full days. But I'm just giving an overall view. The QMS helps to define your systems and processes so that each and every person in your organization, if they need to do something, they do this, follow the same process that will give them the same output. So there is consistency in delivery. And that is where this comes in. When you can show that you have consistent delivery for quality products, your clients, who the users, end users of your services, would have a higher level of confidence in you, in your services. The 9001-2015, the International Standard Specifying Requirements for Quality Management System, is the most popular management system in this entire portfolio of 19,500 standards. The QMS, however, does not merely refer to the 9001. It actually refers to a range of standards that covers various aspects, the general purpose applications as per 9001, as well as for specific purpose applications, which we will soon see. Uh, 9001 is supported by a number of other standards. One is called ISO 9000-2015, which has the definition of all the terminologies used in this. And there's another one called ISO 9004-2004, which provides a guidance for performance management, helps you implement the standards. As you would see in ISO, it has a number, 4 or 5-digit number, followed by colon and the year. Year 2015 or 2004 is the year of release of the standard. That is a standard practice, standard format followed by ISO. Okay, we have another quiz for you, another 60 minutes. However, I will start going ahead after 30 seconds. You have 60 seconds to respond. However, I will go ahead after 30 seconds, but the quiz will be open for 60 seconds. The question is, what are the terms and definitions of, where are the terms and definitions of ISO 9001-2015 located? In Wikipedia, in ISO 9000-2015, 9004-2004, or none of the above? Please respond. You have 60 seconds to do that. Okay, I'm proceeding, but you have another 30 seconds remaining. This slide gives you a snapshot of the releases of the ISO 9001 family of standards. As we discussed, the first edition that was prepared in the year 1986 was released in the year 1987, and it was called ISO 9000-1987, and it was very procedure-oriented. That means it was very prescriptive. You lay down the procedure and you have to follow the system to the T. No deviation was allowed. Then this evolved. The next version was released 7 years later, in the year 1994, where the emphasis was on preventive action to avoid defects. Initial standards, as you see, 87 version and 1994 version, were tailored towards manufacturing companies largely. So therefore, preventive action, process orientation, procedure orientation, being prescriptive, the focus was on that. The next revision was a milestone revision, which was released in the year 2000, which first adopted the process approach and PDCA. PDCA means Plan, Do, Check, Act. We'll talk about it later, so don't worry about it. And the same concept of process approach with PDCA was carried through in the next release 8 years later in the year 2008. The current release dates to the year 2015, so it's 9001-2015, where the focus is on risks and opportunities. That in the business that you're in, whether it's education or whatever, what are the risks that are perceived? And what are the opportunities that you have to get ahead in business? For instance, technology is a major game changer today. Technology is affecting each and every person, the way we work, the way we our leisure activities, and the way we teach. In fact, pandemic has been a major impact. Pandemic has taught us to go online and carry on our teaching online. Pandemic happened in 2019, but before that, before the year 2019, could anyone have seen the risk of having to close down schools and colleges, having to close down physical classrooms, and quickly move on to doing online teaching? Those educational institutions who had seen this opportunity earlier and prepared for this and had been focusing on online delivery of online education, they have today got a leg up in this process. And many other organizations are catching up. So like this, we need to look at what are the new opportunities and what are the new risks. We will discuss about these risks and opportunities in the area of education as we go along. And I would also like you to share your views on this. This is a very important slide and is the basis for the foundation of the ISO 9001 standard. It's not just for 9001, but a whole series of standards which conform to Annex SL. Annex SL provides a common framework for ISO standards, management system standards. Now, ISO SL has got 10 clauses. The first 3 are introductory clauses, but the clauses 4 to 10 are the main clauses which you need to follow. And these clauses are common across a whole range of standards that we will soon discuss, so that once you learn SL 9000, Annex SL for 9001-2015, you can apply the same set of standards in the other ISO standards implementation as well, like ISO 14000 or ISO 39000 and so on. For instance, here we have a list of standards conforming to Annex SL. SL is not an acronym, it doesn't mean anything. And recently it has been renamed as Annex L. However, popularly it is still called Annex SL. And I've just listed a few of the standards that conform to Annex SL. like the 9001, which is quality management system. 14001 is for environment management system. 13485 is for medical devices, quality management system. 27001 is for information security management system. 22163 is for railway applications, quality management system. 29001 is for petrochemical, petroleum, and natural gas industries, quality management system. And 45001 for occupational health and safety management. Besides this, there are many more standards conforming to Annex SL. So once you understand Annex SL, you can apply these and many more standards concurrently in your organization as applicable. So here we come to the third quiz. Annex SL framework is designed to make it harder for organizations to understand ISO management systems, make things more complex so that quality managers have higher salaries, to easily understand management systems and implement multiple ISO standards. You have 60 seconds, but I'll only pause for 30 seconds. Benefits of quality management systems. Would anybody like to, share their thoughts on what could be the benefits of quality management system in your organization? You could unmute yourself and speak. Well, one is to have uniform processes. Another benefit is branding. If you do your thing repeatedly, the same way, and ensure quality service delivery in terms of quality teaching, in terms of good students coming out of the institution, getting picked up by major corporates, that name would spread and that brand of your institution would get recognized. So it's important to focus on the qualities issues. The CBs would basically help you to go through the process and ensure that you're conforming to the procedures that have been laid down by your organization under this QMS program. Some of the benefits of quality management system, this is general for a general organization, not specific to education institutions, like defining, improving, controlling processes. We've been already talking about it. Reducing waste, preventing mistakes, lowering costs, facilitating and identifying training opportunities, engaging staff, setting organization-wide direction, and communicating a readiness to produce consistent results. Another thing is timely delivery of your whatever deliverables you have. These principles for quality management are displayed here on this slide. It starts with leadership, engagement of people, process approach, process improvement, evidence-based decision making. This is very important. Decisions that you take is not just based on gut feel. It's not just based on hunches. It's based on facts and figures, evidence that you collect from your actions. That is very important. That's a key to delivery. And in the process, you need to manage your relationships and, of course, have a customer focus. Each of these principles are defined in the clauses of ISO 9001:2015. And when you're doing that, you can go through it in much greater detail. But we're not covering that here. Why do technical engineering institutions require QMS? A quote by Kim Soon, he's a quality management systems and practices professor at the University of Hussein in Malaysia. Empirical evidence supports the argument that by focusing on quality, an organization can substantially improve its performance. The value of the management is in what we do, not in the documentation alone. The proof is in our evidence, as I just mentioned, the facts and figures. That has become increasingly evident even in the digital world. The websites that you deliver, the work that you do, you try to get a Google Analytics report on how many hits you've got on your website, who is visiting from where, what time of the day, and based on that, you develop your business strategy. Why do technical institutions require QMS? Institutions can achieve superior performance if they spend their resources towards improving their quality management systems, towards enhancement of the soft, as well as the hard quality factors. And very important, smaller institutions could enhance their quality management to achieve the level of performance of large, reputed institutions. So here is an opportunity for smaller institutions, universities, to catch up, a leapfrog, and get into the big league by focusing on these parameters. What are these parameters? For that, we need to have a separate session with the institutions who are interested in getting in touch with CIDC. CIDC, as you know, has been working with lots of colleges to improve various aspects of their delivery and service delivery for the students, as well as students' brand in getting better jobs, as well as supporting entrepreneurship. Why do technical institutions require QMS? The key drivers for decision to implement QMS in technical engineering institutions are for industry interaction, whether for hiring of students or for providing consultancy services. As you are aware, the MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, has got a program called iTech, whereby they fund students from other developing countries to come and study in colleges in India. There are few lakhs of students who are studying in India under this program. And I'm sure many of your colleges are also attracting students. And a QMS certification would be a brand building process in this effort. I'll tell you a story that I once faced myself. I was in a small West African country called Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire is a French name for Ivory Coast. I used to go there often. I was doing a project for the MEA. It was supported by MEA. I was doing a project for my organization that I headed at that time. It was NRDC. When I was coming out, the day I was to leave, I went to the foreign exchange counter to exchange the local currency, which is called CFA, into dollars. There's a young Ivorian boy standing behind the counter, managing the counter. When he saw my passport, India, his eyes lit up. And he said, I love India. I want to come and study. He came out of the cabin and met me in that area. So I really want to come to India. I want to go to Bangalore and study IT in an institution out there. That is the kind of image that is being created today by New India. It's attracting students, young people, boys and girls from other developing countries to come and study in our institutions. There's a huge aspiration there. And I'm sure colleges like yours can do a lot more to attract these students. And one way of doing that is to build your brand value through ISO 9001. What is the experience from establishing a QMS? Professor Helgi Thor conducted a survey of engineering institutions in 2017 titled QMS and Engineering Institutions, Can We Do Better? His key findings were ISO 9001:2015 has made it easier to build industry collaborations, both domestic and abroad. There you are, industry collaboration. Gives credibility stamp both to faculty and students. Faculty and students both benefit from this. Faculty does not want to turn back to the time when there was no QMS. Efficiency, transparency, and uniform systems are key elements resulting from the QMS. And QMS has unified the stakeholders in the institution. So these are some of the observations which are very relevant and which could also, make a difference to you and to your organization. Quality certification alone, however, does not guarantee quality in institutions. It ensures procedures and coordination, but does not deliver quality technically. But it can do it. This is also a matter of attitude, sentiment, and ambition, and how the institutions want to operate. Just getting a certification is not enough. You also need to imbibe it, make it a part of your work ethics, so that you follow the processes diligently. That's when you'll see the difference. So we come to the next quiz. The word ISO is derived from the Greek word isos, meaning quality, equal, improve. You have 60 seconds. However, I'll wait for only 30 seconds. Okay. When should an institution get certified for QMS? The key drivers for a firm or institution to be certified has already been discussed. Some of the primary drivers are a vision to develop a global brand, or a systematic and organized approach to education. Over and above this, one needs to look at the bandwidth available in the institution for manpower to manage the requirements of doing internal audits. This is critical. And additionally, of course, there's a cost involved in managing the auditing process, engaging a certifying body for external audits, and the certificate is valid for 3 years. Every 3 years, you need to get recertified. So there's a recertification process by the certifying body, CB. Before establishing a quality management system, organization must identify and manage various connected, multifunctional processes to help ensure customer satisfaction. The QMS design should be influenced by the organization's varying objectives, needs, and products and services provided. And the structure is based largely on Plan, Do, Check, Act, PDCA cycle. I'll just explain the PDCA cycle. This is how it looks like. You have the leadership in the middle, as I said, which is clause 5. Leadership does the planning, which is clause 6. For the planning process, you get feedback from customers, which is clause 4, organization and its context. Clause 4 also defines the customer requirements, and clause 4 also defines the needs and expectations of interested parties. Input from all of these goes into the planning process. Once you do that, you do the support and operations, which is defined in clause 7 and 8. So from plan, you go to do. Once you do an action, you need to do the performance evaluation. Performance evaluation, it's good to get feedback from the customer. How satisfied is the customer? For education institutions, the customer could be companies that are hiring the students, companies for whom you're doing research, or maybe the government bodies who are funding you for some of the programs, how satisfied they are for the delivery of products and services. And the performance evaluation needs to be checked. So the process of checking, and if there is a shortfall or gaps found, you need to improve on that and act on the improvement for the implementation. So plan, do, check, act, this process keeps continuing through and through. However, it is not only at the overall process level. Each division, each department, each workshop, each entity in your institution will have its own PDCA cycle. And a PDCA cycle from one division or workshop or department will feed into the next division and cycle. And this is how it looks like in an organization. So the whole system works in synchronized fashion in such a way. How is QMS implemented? The basic steps for implementing a quality management system are to design, build, deploy, control, measure, review, and improve. This is the PDCA that we just talked about in the slides before. Okay, the next quiz for you. What does PDCA stand for? Plan, Design, Confirm, Act. Plan, Develop, Check, Act. Plan, Do, Check, Act. Prepare, Do, Critical Appraisal. Prepare, Do, Critique, Assess. You have 60 seconds. However, I'll give you about 30 seconds before I go ahead. Okay, we go ahead. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Anybody, if you wishes to ask question, can unmute and put your question forward, or you can write it in the chat box. How is QMS implemented? The processes we just discussed. If you're interested in implementing QMS in your institution, you can either do it in-house, or you could do it by hiring a consultant. However, you need to have the basic standards, copies of the standards like ISO 9001:2015 and ISO 9000:2015. At least these two standards you need to have. You could also buy ISO 9004 2004. That would also help you. When you follow the processes and define the standards, it'll help you to analyze the gaps in your systems, in your processes, and the disjointed parameters that are there. Based on that, you make a plan how to ensure that all of it runs smoothly in a synchronized fashion. Then the management has to sit down and define the quality policy. And based on the quality policy, based on the vision of the management for the quality policy, the team that is working here internally have to develop their quality manual, which would have to define the overall quality management system as per the ISO 9001:2015. Subsequently, each of the divisions will have to define the procedures for their own division. While the quality manual is a standard that includes the reference to the procedures of the quality management system, the interrelations of these various procedures would be done through this set of processes as defined here. And the user departments have to develop the procedures by mapping their work processes. That means they have to chalk out a flow chart of the way they do their work, how they start, what are the checkpoints, what are the ultimate deliverables, how it is delivered, who does what. You have to develop the whole plan in a flow chart and then convert that into the procedure document. Of course, for this work, some training needs to be given. You can get training from, for instance, there are many certifying bodies, they themselves run training programs. You can contact them, or you could contact QCI, Quality Council of India. Quality Council of India has got a body that does training exclusively. Or you could do it on your own by reading through it. Then you need to form a team of internal auditors. Internal auditors are people who check that each of the divisions are following the systems as defined in the procedures for that department. Internal auditors could be trained from the students itself. In fact, that is the ideal process for institutions. So the students also get to know how the institute functions, and they get an experience in running a live environment. Then you need to appoint a certifying body. Certifying body should be accredited. In India, the accreditation for certifying bodies are given by a organization called NABCB, which is a constituent of the Quality Council of India. NABCB stands for National Accreditation Board for Certifying Bodies. It's based in Delhi, and they have a panel of over 30 certifying bodies, CBs, on their list, offering services for ISO 9001:2015. So it's good to select a CB from their list and appoint them who will do your audit, external audit, and then they can give you the certification. I just showed you what a certificate looks like. The internal audit by your internal audit team is typically done on a quarterly basis. However, the certifying body, CB, do the periodic audit, also called external audit, either 6-monthly or annual basis, based on your contract with them. The certificate that you get is valid for 3 years. So every 3 years, you need to get a recertification audit done, and you will get a new certificate after that. ISO certification for educational institutions. There is a standard called ISO 21001. It's a new standard which has come up for educational organizational management. You could look at adopting this as well. over and above 9001, to enhance your education system, intensify the reputation of your education institution, encourage equal opportunities for all students, furnish personalized training and effective response, simulate perfection and innovation, present education more accessible. As is written this quote by Phil Crosby, who is a renowned quality expert, quality is the result of a carefully constructed cultural environment. It has to be the fabric of the organization, not part of the fabric. Do you follow what is mentioned out here? That means quality has to be ingrained into the organization. It has to be a part of it, not superficially adopted. This is all what we've been talking about. Thank you very much. We are 1 hour down. So I come to the end of the presentation with a quote, another quote by Philip Crosby. Quality is free. It's not a gift, but it's free. The unquality of things what cost money. Quality is free, but the unquality of things are what cost money. That means if you don't perform quality, if you have to redo, retrofit and redo the whole thing, that cost, that becomes expensive. That adds up to your costs. So you need to do the right thing first, in the first instance itself. Thank you very much. I'm open to take questions. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask me. Anybody there?
Sir, one question is there in the chat box.
Okay, can you read out what is the question?
क्या NABL की तरह QMS के लिए भी कंसल्टेंट की सहायता लेनी पड़ेगी?
I can't hear. Speak a little slowly.
क्या NABL की तरह QMS के लिए भी कंसल्टेंट की सहायता लेनी पड़ेगी?
Consultant की?
सहायता, assistance.
Assistance.
Yes.
See, NABL is for certification of basically for lab certification. Okay, so there's a lot of processes, there's a lot of calibration involved. Here, there's no calibration involved. So it can be done on your own. You can read through this and do it on your own. You don't need to have a consultant. If you wish to engage a consultant, it's fine. But however, you don't need to do it. Like for instance, Dheeraj, who is assisting me, Dheeraj Gupta and I are part of an organization. We work in an organization where when I'm the management representative handling quality. The entire process has been developed in-house. And we have been practicing QMS 9001 for the last 22 years. Right from the beginning, the entire process has been handling in-house. There's no external consultant ever engaged. However, if you wish to engage, you're free to do so. Nobody would stop you to do that, but I don't think that is necessary. You're in education institutions, you know how to read and understand from books and documents and journals. That's more than enough to get you started. Any other question? Dheeraj, any other question in the chat box?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other person wants to ask questions? If there are no more questions, then I would like to bring this to a close. Thank you.
Sir, can you share this PPT?
Yes, I can share the PPT. You can contact CIDC. In fact, I believe the entire presentation has been recorded by CIDC. Rakesh, you can confirm whether it has been recorded or not.
Yes, sir.
So the recording can also be shared. Please share the recording.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
that is fine. Any other question from the audience, from the faculty? You are always free to call me or contact me. I've given my email ID at the bottom of the slide. You can write a mail to me. I would be happy to respond. With that, I thank all of you for your patience listening. I thank CIDC and AICTE who are running this PARAKH program to give me this opportunity to be amongst you. Thank you very much. God bless. And enjoy the evening, rest of Saturday and Sunday tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your.
I think we would have got the results out of the quizzes that has been done. I will ask Dheeraj to share it with CIDC also. And if you put your names there, you would know who has scored how much. Okay, Dheeraj? Okay, with this, I'll bring it to a close.